If this video found you today, there is a reason you decided to click on it. Not because of luck, not because of coincidence, and not because an algorithm randomly placed it in front of your eyes. Something inside you has been searching. Maybe not consciously. Maybe you couldn't even explain it if someone asked, but there has been a feeling, a quiet feeling, a feeling that something is changing, a feeling that something is ending. A feeling that something new is trying to begin. For a while now, life may have felt different. The same routines no longer feel the same. The same conversations no longer satisfy you. The same goals that once excited you may not inspire you anymore. You might have been wondering why. You might have been questioning yourself. You might have been asking whether you're losing motivation, losing direction, or losing clarity. But what if that's not what's happening at all? What if the discomfort you're feeling isn't a sign that you're lost? What if it's a sign that you've outgrown where you are? Think about it. Every major chapter in life begins with uncertainty. Before a seed becomes a tree, it breaks open. Before a butterfly emerges, the cocoon becomes uncomfortable. Before a new life begins, the old version has to end. Growth rarely announces itself with certainty. More often, it arrives disguised as confusion, disguised as restlessness, disguised as a feeling that you can no longer stay where you've been. And maybe that's exactly where you are right now. Maybe you've been feeling pulled towards something you can't fully see. Maybe you've been feeling an urge to make changes. Maybe you've been feeling like you're standing at the edge of something important. If so, listen carefully, because the moments before a breakthrough often look exactly like this. Most people expect big changes to arrive with loud signs. They expect certainty. They expect guarantees. They expect clear directions. But life rarely works that way. Instead, it whispers before it shouts. It nudges before it pushes. It gives small signs before major transformations arrive. The problem is that many people ignore those signs. They dismiss them. They tell themselves they're imagining things. They stay where it's comfortable. And because of that, they miss opportunities that were meant for them. Don't make that mistake. Pay attention to what's happening in your life right now. Pay attention to what no longer feels aligned. Pay attention to what keeps calling your attention. Pay attention to the ideas that refuse to leave your mind. Because those things matter far more than you realize. Something big doesn't always arrive as an event. Sometimes it arrives as a decision. Sometimes it arrives as a realization. Sometimes it arrives as the courage to finally become who you've always been. And when that moment comes, everything can change. Not overnight, not instantly, but permanently. One of the most interesting things about transformation is that it often begins long before you can see any visible results. People think change starts when circumstances change, but that's not true. Change starts internally, long before the outside world catches up. There are moments in life when your future self begins pulling you forward. You start seeing things differently. You start questioning old beliefs. You start noticing patterns you once ignored. You begin realizing that certain limits were never real. They were only stories. Stories repeated so often that they felt like facts. Maybe you've spent years believing you weren't ready. Maybe you've convinced yourself that success belongs to other people. Maybe you've told yourself that you're too late, too old, too inexperienced, too far behind. But what if none of that is true? What if those thoughts are simply remnants of an old identity that's no longer serving you? Because here's something powerful. The person you become determines the life you create, not the other way around. Most people wait for external proof before they believe in themselves. But growth requires the opposite. You have to believe before the evidence appears. You have to move before the path becomes obvious. You have to trust before certainty arrives. That's difficult. It's uncomfortable. And that's why most people never do it. They stay where they are, not because they lack potential, but because they fear the unknown. Yet every meaningful opportunity exists in the unknown. Every dream begins there. Every new chapter begins there. Every breakthrough begins there. Think about your life. How many amazing experiences came from taking a chance? How many important moments came from stepping into uncertainty? The truth is that certainty is often overrated. Growth doesn't happen in certainty. Growth happens in possibility. And possibility requires faith. Not blind faith, but the willingness to believe that your future can be greater than your past. The willingness to believe that your current circumstances are not your final destination. The willingness to believe that there is more available to you than what you've experienced so far. Because there is. There always is. Life is far bigger than what you currently see. And the chapter you're entering may be far greater than the chapter you're leaving behind. Sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't the world around you. It's the voice inside your head, the voice that says you're not ready, the voice that says you'll fail, the voice that reminds you of every mistake you've ever made. Everyone has that voice, even the people you admire, even the people who seem confident, even the people who appear fearless. The difference is that they don't allow that voice to make decisions for them. They hear it, but they keep moving anyway, and that's important. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, courage is movement despite fear. If you're waiting to feel completely confident before taking action, you may be waiting forever. Confidence is usually a result of action, not a prerequisite for it. You gain confidence by doing. You gain confidence by trying. You gain confidence by proving to yourself that you can survive uncertainty. Every challenge you've overcome has already demonstrated this. There were times in your past when you thought you wouldn't make it, times when things felt impossible, times when you doubted yourself. Yet here you are, still standing, still growing, still moving forward. That matters, because it proves something. It proves that you're stronger than the version of yourself that first entered those challenges. You survived things that once seemed overwhelming. You adapted. You learned. You evolved. And because of that, you're capable of handling far more than you think. The future doesn't require perfection. It requires participation. It requires showing up. It requires being willing to take the next step. Not all 100 steps, just the next one. That's how every journey unfolds. One decision, one action, one moment of courage at a time. And often, that's all life is asking from you right now. Not for perfection, not for certainty, just for a step forward. There is a reason some opportunities appear only once. It's not because life is unfair. It's because timing matters. There are seasons in life. Seasons of preparation, seasons of growth, seasons of harvest. And sometimes a season arrives that asks you to act. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now. You may already feel it, that subtle pressure, that sense that waiting is becoming more uncomfortable than moving forward. That's often a sign. Not a sign that you should rush blindly, but a sign that you're ready for more. Many people spend years preparing for a life they're never brave enough to live. They gather information. They make plans. They wait for the perfect moment, but perfection never arrives. At some point, action becomes necessary. At some point, the leap becomes unavoidable. And here's something worth remembering. The opportunities that change your life rarely arrive when you feel fully prepared. They arrive when you're just prepared enough. The rest is learned along the way. Nobody starts as an expert. Nobody begins with complete certainty. Nobody has every answer. The people who create remarkable lives aren't necessarily smarter than everyone else. Often they're simply willing to move before they feel ready. They're willing to trust themselves. They're willing to risk discomfort. They're willing to believe that they can figure things out as they go. And more often than not, they do. You can too. The future is not reserved for a select few. It's created by people who decide to participate in it. People who stop waiting for permission. People who stop asking whether they're worthy. People who recognize that growth is their birthright. And perhaps that's why this video found you today. Not to give you answers, but to remind you of something you already know. You are capable of more than you've been allowing yourself to believe. So if you've been sensing that something big is coming, don't ignore that feeling. Respect it. Explore it. Listen to it. Not every intuition is random. Not every inner pull is meaningless. Sometimes your mind notices changes before your eyes can see them. Sometimes your spirit recognizes a new chapter before your circumstances reveal it. The key is to remain open. Open to opportunities. Open to growth. Open to unexpected possibilities. Open to becoming someone new, because the person you're becoming may be exactly who you've needed all along. The next chapter of your life may not look the way you imagined. It may be bigger. It may be different. It may challenge you in ways you never expected. But it may also reward you in ways you never thought possible. Remember this. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to know every detail. You don't need a perfect plan. You only need enough courage to take the next step. Life reveals itself through movement. The path appears while walking. The answers emerge through experience. The confidence grows through action. If you've made it this far in the video, consider this your reminder. Your story is not finished. Your best opportunities may still be ahead. Your greatest growth may still be ahead. Your most meaningful chapter may still be ahead. Trust the process. Trust your growth. Trust the lessons you've learned. Trust the strength you've developed. And most importantly, trust yourself. Because sometimes a video finds you at exactly the right moment, not to predict the future, but to prepare you for it. And if something big truly is coming into your life, meet it with an open heart, a clear mind, and the courage to step forward when the moment arrives. Thanks for watching. If this video found you today, Take it as a reminder to trust your journey, trust your growth, and stay open to the opportunities ahead. Something beautiful can change your life at any moment, and often, it begins when you least expect it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need this message today. Take care, keep moving forward, and I'll see you in the next video.